Alright, what's up YouTube? Stardust Accelerator here. Today's topic is on YCS Barcelona and the top three decks I feel are going to have the best showing at the event. And that are poised to win the entire thing, basically. Now, Barcelona's happening tomorrow. I'm uploading this Friday night. So, you should see that, I don't know, probably like at midnight or so. Anyways, my first pick to do well and possibly win at the event is Agents. First off, they have a great matchup against just about every deck in the format, with like the exception of Macro Rabbit, and Macro Rabbit loses some decks. So um, next, over the past two ICSs or so, Agents have had great showings. They've been topping consistently. Um, they can only go up from there. They have a plethora of first turn good plays that set them up for the rest of the game. They have Earth, Venus, Thunder King, and even Tour Guide plays that sets up the deck from turn one, and they all are either strong plays or they're going to lead into a strong play as an Exceed play or a boss monster drop on the next turn. One thing I do want to talk about though is the difference between variants in agent decks. There's of course Simon He's famed Chaos agent deck. I'm sure everyone's seen, and if not, I'll link it below. But there's also the Card Trooper Call of the Haunted build, more focused on the agents himself, made famous by Alistair from, yeah. Um, I feel the version of agents that's going into Barcelona that's the best is the Trapless Chaos version, Simon He's version. I think this because it keeps all the boss monsters in the deck, and they never touch the grave until your opponent had to fight through them. Its offensive power is reminiscent to Chaos Dragons, but it's more controlled since the deck doesn't have to mill cards. It doesn't play card troopers like the card trooper build. Also, this deck makes MST and Heavy Storm absolutely dead. And with most people playing 3 MST as we saw in Seattle, a lot of decks are going to have dead cards in their hand game 1 against Chaos Agents. And the only trap they're going to have to MST is Treacherous Trap Hole. But the Asian player is going to be smart enough not to set that until they have targets to chain it to. The best you can hope is to bluff out your MSTs and hope they pop them with Hyperion's Effect or their own MSTs. Preferably Hyperion's Effect, so they don't have any more to pop with later. Next, I want to talk about Mermails. All I have is an Abyss Dweller. That's the closest thing I can get to any Abyss or Mermail card or Atlantean. I don't have anything else, so I'm just going to use this to talk about. Mermails had one of the best showings at YCS Seattle a few weeks ago. They were only tied with windups. They came second in the event, losing to Inzectors in the final, but that means nothing when it's compared to its overall matchups against everything else. This deck has the power to randomly blow up cards on the field, like basically Inzectors like them, monsters and spells and traps alike, making it hard to decide what you want to commit to the board against the deck. And after they do that, they can summon 2400 beat sticks that can attack you twice and Mullen Glacia and drop 2 cards out of your hand. And if this doesn't happen, you're most likely going to have problems with their Trags and Gorzes and Abyss Sphere. You're probably going to see all of those, and whenever you try to make advances towards the deck's life points. On the downside, I find this deck, like, everyone's going to be siding for it and possibly maining certain stuff for it, like Thunder King is really good against the deck, because even when you drop what's this face, Abyss Megalo, and like you throw something to pop the Thunder King, even no matter how you set up your chain links, you're not going to get this search. I mean, you can't negate with Thunder King, but you're still not going to get your search, so you're basically dropping a 24 vanilla beat stick for 2 at the cost of 2 cards out of your hand, trying to get over a Thunder King. So that could be a problem. I can also see this deck having problems with Macro Rabbit and Agents in the preliminary rounds of the tournament. But that doesn't mean the deck can't adapt and win games 2 and 3. The MVP card everyone should probably be playing right now in this deck is Water Owl, or however you pronounce it. Looking at your opponent's hand and getting rid of every card you see can be huge at any point in the game. The only other deck that's able to do this is Dark World, and that deck loses if it doesn't open with spells. Looking into your opponent's hand is a huge greatest advantage this deck can have, along with discarding them with Mullen Glacier. To make it even better, if you chain it to something like Torrential or Bottomless, it's only going to fetch you pluses, making it the personal MVP of the deck that I choose for the tournament. Lastly, of course, is Windups. This is my personal pick to win, or at least the deck I feel has the best chance to win the entire tournament. Windups, they got 7 of the top 32 spots, along with Mermails at YCS Seattle. They were tied. It's always a good deck, and the plays are just always endless. Of course, it needs a great player to pilot. You can't just give the deck to someone and expect them to win. Yeah, they need to pilot correctly in order to use it to the best of its ability. But with 3 months into the format, there shouldn't be lack of talent. People should have learned how to play this deck by now and do well with it. Another reason Windups has the ability to do well and win is because the declination of hand traps we saw at YCS Seattle. A lot of the top decks weren't playing hand traps unless they were like trapless builds of certain decks. As we all know, hand traps have decreased in play because of their lack of utility and all the possible matchups you could face in like a 15-round event. Windups with probably will take 90% of the of game ones if you're not running hand traps, just because of Magician Shark, and they can just lock you out of the game from there. Yeah, Sharkmaster first turn play, all decks should fear that when going up against this deck. It's always going to happen. Even if they grind into it against certain decks in later stages, it's actually against all decks. It's just as, if not even harder to play out of, because you'll have less resources to get rid of the Shockmaster with at the beginning or middle or end, or actually at the beginning, at the end of the game, really, basically. And with some of the best decks being trapless or have a minimum number of traps, like Mermails, where they don't play like Torrential and Mirror Force, usually they play just like Water Art and Abyss Sphere, or just Abyss Sphere, really. They could have a really difficult time and be in a really difficult situation to get rid of the Shockmaster and get back into a leading role in the game. Once their opponent drops the Shockmaster on them, supported by a back row, it could be the end of the game. So yeah, this is my pick. Let me know what you guys think will win or has great chances of topping in the comment section below, and feel free to comment on any decks that you think I missed. Also comment on what other things you'd like to see on this channel. I want to do more videos. So there's that. Comment, like, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching, YouTube. Thanks.